Who doesn't love movies? If you don't love movies like we love movies, you're wrong. The sports ball people have their fantasy leagues, but what about us film nerds? The Fantasy Movie League was born. And each week, you choose 8 movies for our personal cineplexes and compete in leagues for the highest grossing box office total. Of course, each cineplex has to build their lineup within a budget, with each movie costing a certain amount. So, let the FML chatter begin! Welcome back, everyone, to Fantasy Movie League chatter here on the Completing the Shelf channel on the great YouTube. He is still Chris. I am still Alex. Thank you so much for joining us once again for another compelling week of Fantasy Movie League chatter. We will be hopefully leaner, stronger, and better than ever than we were the previous week, and we will try to get you insight as to how to set up your Cineplex for Week 8. Oh no, Week 7. I'm time traveling in my DeLorean. I apologize, everyone. Chris, how was your weekend?
You know, it was pretty good. This week's been busy. We're getting ready to go on a vacation, so yeah, that's why this episode is going to be a little shorter than usual.
Yes, it's going to be
maybe not as flashy with the visuals.
Short but sweet, maybe. Short but sweet. It's going to be concise. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. So let's just dive right in and kind of look at exactly what we thought was going to happen. Spider-Man Homecoming atop the heap. No surprise there. Debuting $117 million in over 4,300 theaters. We kind of thought it would be a bit bigger than that. And I'm curious as to how you're looking at this 9-digit premiere from Spider-Man Homecoming.
I'm pleased with it. I mean, the 3-day opening shows a $50 million on Friday, 37 on Saturday, and just under 30 on Sunday. So I think it performed a little less on Saturday and Sunday than I thought. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, the Saturday number is the one that really scared me of the bunch. I expected kind of like a maybe 50 to 40 sort of drop, but not as harsh of a drop as it did. Again, I took a look at it in 2 different ways. One, this is the 3rd different Spider-Man we have seen as the man in the mask and the suit. It's also the 3rd different attempt by Sony to make this work. And I feel like a lot of the non-nerds of the film world and the non-nerds of the Marvel Cinematic Universe fandom looked at this and said, again? So I feel like
I've heard people say, like, wait, is this continuing the last one? Like they didn't understand, which I don't understand.
I know. Again, they live in another
world. It had
world.
Iron Man in it and everything.
They live in another world. Forgive them. They know not what they are doing.
Did you see it?
I did not.
Boo!
Yeah, throw tomatoes at me. That's fine. I didn't see any movies over the weekend, so it's not like I cheated on it with like a Baby Driver or Big Sick, which I was. I would have liked to do that once every day, but, you know,
Sure.
you've got to live within your means, and you only can get so many shekels that come in each week, and you have to use those shekels wisely, young man.
To spend them on your wife's birthday, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was really the biggest reason why I splurged on my wife for her birthday, as you should.
Well, I saw it, and quick review, it is the best Peter Parker movie of all time.
That's what I'm hoping. Wait, does that mean it's the best Spider-Man movie or the best Peter Parker movie? I'm confused.
We've seen the Spider-Man action before, so it's not like, whoa, I never saw Spider-Man on screen before. It's amazing. We kind of know his shtick, and the difference with the Spidey action is he has a Stark suit, so there's more tech involved. But
Got it.
It's a better Peter Parker film because you really get at the heart of the character, even though they don't retread the origin, and this is not spoiler stuff. They dealt with it very briefly in the film and even in the Civil War movie, and boom, it's a great one. And by the time this comes out, I'll have an in-depth review of the movie up on our channel, so go check that out.
Completing the shelf.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, of course, Spider-Man Homecoming debuting at number 1. And everything kind of fell in exactly as we had assumed it would. Of course, the only uptick was The Big Sick, which again had a much wider release. It's supposed to go into even further cinemas this week, despite only adding 255 theaters. It's supposed to get another 2,500 over the weekend. So it's getting a much, much, much wider release than I had even thought it was going to do. I thought this was the weekend it was going to do that, but you still were rewarded in that regard of it being so good. And I don't know if it's, and again, we're going from 300 theaters, to now 2,800 theaters. And we'll certainly take a look at the projection on that and see where it might ceiling-wise fit into your weekend and what its cost will look like, and making sure it's the right move for you. But the bigger story that is occurring this weekend is yet another sequel add-on to a franchise that simply doesn't die. It's just beyond me how this has gotten from 2001 Tim Burton's version to a completely different plot line with James Franco a decade later to now.
Did you call him Frico?
No, that was a slip. It was a Freudian slip because he is a freak of nature as an actor, as a human being, and as just a
writer
a creative entity. He used to be a professor at NYU, for God's sakes. I mean, it's amazing what James Franco has done.
I'm kind of
in the
impressed
39
with
years
him.
he's been on this earth. It's amazing. I'm like, I'll take James Franco's life. I won't know if I'll add on the unnecessary drug shtick that goes with it.
He wasn't a very good Harry Osborn in the first three Spider-Man movies.
Yes,
but
he did. That was nice.
I liked him in Oz, the Great and Powerful Oz. Or
yes,
that movie was
he
called.
did play a very good role there. But for me, Saul in Pineapple Express is always just kind of like that mental role I always leave James Franco in, even though I know he has a much better range than just pineapples. So, again, debuting this week on over 4,000 screams, not screams. SCREEN, screens. How can I say that word, Chris? What's going on with me?
It's because you weren't at the screen this weekend.
That
was so bad. I'm gonna probably edit that one out.
No, you should leave it in at this point. You're in just bad dad joke mode. It's fine. We embrace it. We know you're in that mode of life. It's okay.
Yes.
If we're
and with
our
baby is experiencing a sleep regression.
Hooray.
So daytime and night have swapped places for her.
Oh, interesting.
So would you say that the Planet of the Apes franchise has become a why is this happening kind of movie?
It's again, I'm if we go back to my question of why, I think this easily falls into that. If we're going to pay homage to the original author of the Planet of the Apes story, Pierre Boulet, we shall title this film Guerre de la Planète des Singes, which literally translates to War of the Planet of the Apes. This time, of course, Andy Serkis, who has voiced the title role of Caesar, of the leader of these apes, appears once again in the film.
And Woody Harrelson.
The lovely Woody Harrelson decides to take the role of male antagonist to the apes, or maybe friend to the apes. We still don't really know and still don't understand why that's the case. This is the third film that has come from this series, which began, as mentioned, in 2011 with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, in which James Franco mutates Caesar. Mutinizes, that's not the right word. He mutates Caesar from a humble chimpanzee into a far more superior organic than he even expected him to become. That movie opened with a $54 million opening weekend. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes then followed in 2014, and the only reasonably recognizable actor that I saw from that trailer was Gary Oldman. And Gary Oldman does everything awesome under the sun, so it really confused me as to why he ended up in such a terrible movie. That opened at $72.6 million. Both of those opened in less than 4,000 theaters in its opening weekend. They are
before we trash this franchise anymore.
Yes.
They're not my cup of tea.
No.
I saw the first one. I didn't see the second one.
No.
But I think they're very well-made films, and they're well-received. Here's an interesting little snippet of review for this upcoming War of the Planet of the Apes. This is from Katie Walsh from the Tribune News Service.
Oh,
And
okay.
she says, with emotionally resonant stories, thrilling heroics, and trenchant cultural observations, the Apes franchise is a rare breed of blockbuster where filmmakers have been given the freedom to tell the stories they want the way they want. And I think these are actually pretty great. Everything seems consistent with these films. I remember I saw the first
Yes.
one, and you felt like, okay, it could go on, but it felt like a complete story. And that's just what I've heard from each of these so far. Like this new breed of these films. They are their own contained film, yet they work together, and they have a lot to say about science and our society and how we treat ourselves and the animals around us. This other reviewer, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Michael Phillips from Chicago Tribune, he says that Caesar leads a simian revolution. He's the Moses of apes.
Wow, that's blasphemous. But good for him for going out there on a limb and putting his journalistic career on a lifeline. Matt Reeves is the director of this film. He did direct the 2008 film Cloverfield and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which came out 3 years ago. And Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was his opening success commercially versus all other films that he has ever done in the director's chair, at least. So at least they keep the same creative direction in this film from one to the other, which has plagued it over the last decade and a half of we known it in its current existence. And the Planet of the Apes theming as a whole has always kind of looked at, in a metaphorical sense, that idea of race relations in the world and Cold War relations in the world. That's what some critics have always stretched it to kind of look at, instead of just, well, they're our closest cousin in the line of evolution and genetics. Why would it not be them versus us? And that's how I'm always seeing the film. And I'm just like, really?
These films are really tapping into something universal within us, because we fear nature overall. Like, we think we have dominion over nature and weather and disease, but we fear it. And this is just extrapolating that idea and putting it in a plot with fantastic sci-fi stuff. So it reminds me of, sorry, teacher brain. It reminds me of this story I used to teach called Leningrad versus the Ants. And it's about these ants just like consuming the whole countryside, and humans just watching on a farm it coming, and they can't do anything. And then they eventually get consumed by the ants. It's a terrifying story.
Leningrad versus the Ants.
Now, another thing, Matt Reeves, his next movie, The Batman.
Ooh.
So I might go see this movie, War of the Planet of the Apes, just to get an idea of, okay, what's his latest work look like? Because though I don't care for the DC movies except for Wonder Woman, it's Batman.
This is true. I'm holding out in the DC world for Justice League, at least in the theaters. I will try on my own home entertainment and to at least look at Batman vs. Superman so I understand why Superman isn't showing up in any of these trailers for the next film. That might give me an idea. I don't want you to tell me. Don't spoil it. Please just let me discover this on my own. Let me go down that river. Because, again, I boycotted the original film because, well, if it's not Christian Bale playing Batman, I don't care. And then you tell me it's Ben Affleck playing Batman, so I really don't care.
Batfleck.
Batfleck, yes. So I
like Ben Affleck, and I think I've heard he's the best thing about Batman v Superman.
That's
so.
Golly. Okay. All right. Moving on. So that is the big debut this weekend. The other is a horror film. Finally, horror comes back. And this is a new film called Wish Upon.
This is very scary looking.
This looks absolutely wackadoodle, man. I don't like horror movies to begin with, but then you show me this, and I'm just like, nope, 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 and I'm running.
It's very demonic, very dark. Sorry, teacher brain again. It reminds me of this short story called The Monkey's Paw, in which a family gets a monkey's paw. You can wish for 3 things, and they all come true, but with unintended consequences that are usually horrifying and terrible. And this amps that up to 1,000%.
That's not good.
Yeah, in the trailer, the main girl, she wishes for some bully girl at school to rot, and then the girl wakes up and she's literally rotting alive and screaming in the
No,
mirror. I'm
no,
like,
no,
ow!
no, thank you. That's no good.
But I think it's kind of a Faustian deal. So this girl has a box and it gives her 7 wishes, not 3, 7.
7?
And it all comes true, but the price in the end is her soul. Right?
Well, she probably deserves that then.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking it from the karma side. I'm just saying, like, well, you get what you sow. PG-13 rating, directed by John Leonetti. His last horror flick, Annabelle, did not do well with the critics. However, it did somewhat okay in the theaters in its opening weekend, $37 million. And the only other thing he's directed beyond that was the 1997 film Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Ooh.
Yes. Whoopee! That's the only thing I'd like to say about that. So let's start with that debut film. Potential ceiling over under, would you say 21.5 million?
For Wish Upon?
Yeah, Wish Upon. I know you've got a lot of competition going on. I don't think it'll even go beyond 15 million, but again, that high water mark, if you will, would you say 21 million is possible?
Sure.
Because the horror
highest.
folks have not had something truly come in that represents that genre well. And I think since Get Out, there hasn't been a solid horror movie, and this is like the next best thing based on what I see from the trailers, and based on the previous director's work.
Yeah, this
So,
is that pure
again,
horror flick, unlike
right.
It Comes at Night, which wasn't.
Correct. You're still competing with the Baby Drivers, Despicable Me 3s, and Big Six of the world. So again, I'm really thinking even 15 million could be a generous sort of middle median for this film. But at $92 a screen, that's sadly what I'm looking at.
Not worth it.
And well, it's probably not worth it. And if it goes over 10 million, they're going to anoint it as bonus performer. And that's where I'm fearing that's going to go.
Well, you are good at picking the bonus performer.
I have to say, we'll recap the league.
You have one skill in life,
on.
and you can choose the bonus performer on Fantasy Movie League. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
What does he win? Nothing.
He wins fictional stars on his
great.
on the podcast screen.
For the record, my overall rank so far in the summer season is in the top 84%.
Very nice. Very nice.
Of all players. I think it's officially like 2,774. That doesn't make me feel very good. I just don't know how many total players there are. But that's not here nor there. It's in cyberspace. There is a best of the rest this week.
Yuck.
The best of the rest makes its horrid return at $5 a screen, the same amount as The Mummy. I'd like to know what the best of the rest actually is.
I know.
But
it's the
we
mystery
don't know what it
box.
is. Yeah. What's in the mystery box? So, again,
you.
of course, you always have $1,000 to budget. Sir, I had delicious food last night. I can't help it. It was for my wife's birthday. We had, like, obscenely good
Where'd you
food.
guys go?
Now I'm paying. We went to a restaurant at Disney World, actually. Since we live in Orlando, we might as well go someplace that's nice and fancy where others will go that's typically nice and fancy. So we went to a restaurant at the Animal Kingdom Lodge at Disney World, and it was called Chico, the cooking place.
I've never been there.
It's what they call a signature restaurant, so what you would expect from like a Ruth's Chris or a high-end restaurant in
But
your
you're eating
city or
zebra and
town.
giraffe and hippo and stuff, right?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, we didn't have that. PETA would be on our case, and the ASCPA, I'm sure.
I think Mickey
ASPCA.
is stronger than PETA. Mickey is stronger than everyone.
He's got some clout. You're right. But no, she had I think a wild boar tenderloin for her entree.
Pumbaa.
That was no. He was a warthog.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Boars are far less entertaining than a warthog.
Hopefully, we're not any boars, so let's move on.
Yeah. I had elk actually.
Oh wow.
it was not gamey at all. It was really tender. I was surprised by that. But their signature items, there's a maize crusted halibut that's delicious.
Ooh.
They also do a oak grilled beef tenderloin, which is obscenely good. And then they do this short rib dish, which is also so good. Anyway, we're not going to talk about food. I'm drooling as we speak.
But I guess we need to drop a mention or a plug for your group, the Disney Foodies. Check it out.
Yes,
Go to Facebook, find it out.
Disney Foodies, where we talk about all the foods at all the Disney parks, but mostly North America. And that's another reference to another thing at Disney, but let's just stop while we're ahead. So yeah, Best of the Rest and The Mummy both at $5 a screen. Pirates at $6, Beguiled $12, 47 Meters $17, The House $26, Transformers $30, Cars 3 $33. I think that's symbolic. I don't know why. Wonder Woman $68, Wish Upon, as we mentioned, $92, Baby Driver $93. And again, Big Sick, it is expanding to beyond its 300 some odd theaters. It's going into 2,800 total theaters. It's $143 a screen this week. And even if you stick with Spidey and stay true to Peter, you're not given a lot of wiggle room to utilize that because, again, that bonus performer bump up in price always plagues that bonus performer week. My question to you, Chris, with The Big Sick now coming out in thousands of theaters, do you want to go over or under for The Big Sick, $13.5 million for this weekend?
Wow.
I don't know. That's the thing. It's done $3.5 million last week, which was up over 116% from the previous weekend, and it only added 255 screens. And I don't know if it's got the super knockout comedy levels that you'd expect from a big sort of Hollywood film, like maybe an Anchorman.
Yeah, but comedies aren't doing well this summer, so this might actually do well, except for Baby Driver.
Right, and Baby Driver's not as it's more action comedy than it is comedy.
So yeah, traditional comedies are not faring too well, like The House.
But The Big
Rough
Sick
Night
even is one of those traditional comedies. It's far more dramedy because it deals with a lot of more human elements.
That's what I'm saying. We can't compare them.
And the sickness. It's a true indie flick that you see along the lines of a Little Miss Sunshine, or maybe something from Wes Anderson, one of those sort of Moonlight Kingdom, or one of his super indie nerdy films.
So here's what I'll say. I'll say 6 million, maybe 7. It'll double, right? But it's not going to breach 10 because we got War for the Planet of the Apes. We have Spider-Man. There's so much competition. And you know what? The crowds do come out for the Planet of the Apes films. So Spidey's going to take a hit this week. We see that usually the second weekend.
Yes.
For the superhero films.
This is true. I'm kind of looking at Spidey, and again, trending at that 50 to 65% drop off.
Yeah.
You are looking at a film that probably in its second week will do no worse, I'm hoping, than $75 million.
I think it'll do less. I think it'll do like 60.
Yeah, I know, because it underwhelmed on the open from such lofty heights.
I think it'll, like Wonder Woman, it'll like Guardians, it'll drop a bunch, but then be very consistent for many weeks.
Sustainable, yeah. Fun fact, Wonder Woman now, more foreign gross than domestic gross in its lifetime box office.
Interesting.
Just under $750 million.
And she might do better than Spidey overall because Spidey is
so
very
different.
American. Spidey's American, right? There's even a scene in the film where there's an American flag waving behind him, but Wonder Woman is not tied to a specific real place, right?
Right. And I think it's more of, hey, Wonder Woman, I identify with that. I want to go see it. That's why I think why Wonder Woman succeeds far more than Spider-Man or the rest of them does, because it has that female acknowledgement, that female recognition of, hey, she's someone I've always identified with as someone I want to be. in the female race, I want to go see that movie.
Yeah, Peter is the Wonder Woman for all the nerdy guys out there.
Well, yeah, and it's a bit of a high school movie, which makes it fun. It has that fun element kind of involved of that high school romance bit with him and Zendaya. So I think that will help it for the kids that are out of school. Mostly the nerds that are out of school, of course.
The Zendaya character doesn't turn out to be a love interest, at least in this film. Just to get that right.
Okay. Despicable Me 3 did do $33.5 million last week. It dropped more than half of its previous weekend gross. Baby Driver and Wonder Woman still not dropping below 40% per weekend. So it kind of begs the question, Baby Driver at 90 some odd bucks a screen, do you kind of keep holding on to it?
I don't think so.
I think Baby Driver is going to fall under double digits in its millions. I'm thinking where Wonder Woman is sitting right now, maybe 9. That 9 to 8.5 high in that range. So I don't think it's going to earn as much. I mean, you could load up on it to kind of counteract if you do decide to play a Spidey or a War of the Planet of the Apes. As much as I want Big Sick to have a big number, I don't think this is the week it does any bonus performer.
No.
So
you said,
tough.
What did you say bonus performer might be? The Wish Upon?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
What did you say the bonus performer was going to be?
I'm leaning on bonus performer being Wish Upon somehow. Because, again, horror fans out there have not had their time in the sun for a lot of months. And I feel like they're banking on Wish Upon to be that film that holds the banner for the summer season. I don't see anything coming out over the next few weeks, at least horror-wise, that's going to be there. Like, not even in August, I don't think there is a horror movie until, ironically, a sequel to Annabelle Creation, that will be coming out by Warner Brothers, but not for another 5 weeks. Good heavens. But not for another 5 weeks.
What's interesting, Wish Upon does not have a tomato meter rating and no reviews from critics.
Interesting.
On Rotten Tomatoes. So, but
it has a high
percentage
86% want to see.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's on the higher end. It's doing some Thursday premieres, which, okay, let's do a little bit of pause on what we are generally talking about and go over some of the rules of Fantasy Movie League, because I've asked this question and my wife actually knew the answer. Not to your trivia question, because I don't think anyone answered that one again, but that's not here nor there. But again, when we are looking at movies that are debuting on a weekend, generally speaking, we have always informed you, our loyal listeners, that a movie is judged on its Friday, Saturday, Sunday performance, unless it's a holiday weekend and then Monday is added in. Holiday weekends a la Memorial Day, Labor Day, President's Day weekend,
and so on.
Yeah. Thursday night showings of a movie count in the Friday total.
Oh, okay.
This coming from Fantasy Movie League directly.
Cool. Very good.
So that's kind of filed under the How to Play segment of Fantasy Movie League. I think officially it says, additionally, any movie opening on Friday but offering sneak peek or previews on Thursday will have that revenue included in their total as well. If a movie opens on a Wednesday, the Wednesday and Thursday numbers are not included in the weekend total, which we knew and established with you weeks ago. Anyway,
you know, horror fans might get their horror or thriller tastes satisfied in August by the return of. Netflix show.
Stranger Things.
Yes.
I'm so excited for that.
Me
to
too.
Debut.
I really want to get my wife, honey, let's watch this first season, please.
But
I want to rewatch it.
I thought it was October that it was coming out.
Oh, you're right. August is The Defenders, maybe.
Oh.
That's right. I'm looking forward to that too, but not doing the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, we will worry about that in another time and place. But yes, Stranger Things Season 2, October 27th, on a Netflix device
Near you.
near you.
Okay, so your screen. What's your Cineplex going to look like? This is hard because I think I might not choose Spider-Man. And I think I'm going to go for that War of the Planet of the Apes because it's so expensive. It's going to be hard to fill the rest of it. But I think that's going to have the biggest weekend at 70, at least 70 million.
Which kind of fits into that budget of 705 that they're asking for.
Yes.
Man. Because I'd like Spider-Man to not have to fall below 55 million. And I feel like we're all on the same page that it could potentially do that.
No, I don't think it would be below 55 million. It'll be in the 60s or 50s, but I think Apes is going to do better than Spidey.
Oh, that's true. It's just a matter of does it make it worth your while between what else is out there and what else is available. I don't think, again, we've kind of hit the nail on the head with Cars 3. It will not be a commercial success. It will be a success in the merchandising and the kids' toys that come with it.
Oh my gosh, yes. I told you I was wandering around Walmart and Target yesterday waiting for Verizon to open. And I went down the kids' aisles. I'm like, all right, what do the toys look like these days? I don't know. And, of course, lots of Marvel stuff everywhere. And then just an entire wall of Cars toys.
Yep.
Just cars everywhere. Endless. Car balls, car sip cups, car everything.
And you played with all of them. We just want to know, did you play with them all?
You know, they are so much fun. They really went down that aisle real quickly, and I almost tripped someone, but, whatever. You got to play, and I had time to kill. So
good enough. Just as a FYI, domestically, Wonder Woman only $17 million away from eclipsing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in its lifetime box office gross in the domestic theaters.
I think Guardians is a better movie now that I think about it.
I knew you'd come around. I knew you'd see the light.
Just slightly.
So yeah, War of the Planet of the Apes coming out this weekend, available for players at $705 a screen. I'm going to keep beating the why drum. I don't know the values there. I'm thinking War of the Planet of the Apes is only going to come out to the same level of Spider-Man. So for the dollar per screen, I'm going to stick with Spidey. That's what I feel like War of the Planet of the Apes is going to do. If it does better than that, great. I was wrong. I like being proven wrong because I haven't been proven wrong so far with my bonus performer choices, and hopefully that will stay afloat and true moving forward. I am going to go this week with Spidey. I'm going to take a Big Sick, which is not going to help me with my other choices later on, but I'm okay with it. I have the faith in that will, with its wide release, still improve upon its numbers. I don't know what's going to do another 100+ percentage. I'd like to hope that it's going to do at least 67% gain in its previous weekend. So that should be a welcome gift if that is the case for my folks who are loyally and faithfully following me to whatever end. So 6 million, 7 million for the Big Sick. That's what I'm hoping for, which if that happens, will still make it a solid bonus performer at $143 a screen.
Sure.
So I'm going to go with only one in the Big Sick. Because if I do that, I feel like I'm handcuffing too much to go away for the rest of the weekend. So I'm going to do Spidey, Big Sick, 2 Wish Upons to really hope that the horror crowd gets out there and supports their genre. And with the 4 screens I have remaining, I am just going to go for... and it makes it so tough because there's really nothing good at the bottom of this barrel. I'm going to still take a Wonder Woman and then just fill up on Pirates because it still had some life to it.
Yeah.
I did come through last weekend at 1.1. This is probably the last weekend that it has a shot to stay over a million.
It's not even in the top 10 anymore. So, yeah, this is the last one. And you know what? It's done respectable, I think, numbers-wise.
All things considered, it has done nicely. It's just that Wonder Woman at 68 is what's really making me like, ugh. And I don't want to choose the house because even right now, the house is still clawing along. 4.7 last week. I don't think it's going to be over 2.5 next week.
Oh, it's dropping fast. It
So,
didn't do well in the beginning, so.
Right, at $26 a screen, it doesn't make sense to me to try to go for the house because it's not going to even hit it'll hit 2 to 2.25 at best.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to load up on Pirates and hope I don't get substantially burned. And it's better to do that than lose $2 million a screen. That's just how I'm chalking it up.
Agreed. So
yeah, one Spidey, one Big Sick, 2 Wish Upons, 1 Wonder Woman, and 3 Pirates Dead Men Tell No Tales.
man, we might have the same Cineplex this week. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. You for a minute there, after the Friday numbers, you were beating me last week. Just to
Just for
let
a
you
little,
know.
yeah, I know.
Just to see how it feels.
Well, I remember those far along days.
So for the record, your lovely host, myself, did win yet his 3rd straight week in a row, dating back to week 4. Ding. My lead on the top now is getting not out of control because at least you had a respectable week. My last week's selection, of course, 1 Friday Spidey, 2 Baby Drivers, and 5 Big Sick, which was the bonus performer of the weekend, as I unwaveringly and unknowingly predicted.
Hey, you barely just beat me last week, by the way.
I know. I won by $3 million. That's not a sizable amount, considering it is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend. That's a decent win.
Now,
And
I have to say for my wife,
Yes.
she didn't get her picks in, so the FML automatically put in the previous weeks, and that's why she was so below everyone.
That makes more
She
sense.
wanted me to mention that, so
Okay.
it's okay, honey. We know you're still smart.
12 p.m. Eastern Time.
She was too busy
Friday.
healing the people of Gainesville.
That's like that's a 24-hour job. That can't just be an 8-hour gig. Okay. All right. Fine. Moving on.
But yeah, you do have a sizable lead on everyone, including me.
Right now, yes, but there's still another 7 weeks to go, including this one. We will go an additional 7 weeks, including this one, 13 total weeks. I have 4 of the 6 weeks in our League 1. Chris has the other 2. Star Tours Flight 1401 avoided Spider-Man and got bit. 1 Despicable, 2 Babies, 3 Transformers, 1 Cars, and the House. And actually, for Star Tours Flight 1401, it is his birthday. So happy birthday, Star Tours Flight Team 1401. The real-life human who owns that Cineplex, it is his birthday today. So happy birthday to him. My wife went with the popular choice of Marvel Cinematic Universe or bust. Friday, Saturday with 6 Guardians of the Galaxy going 92.99.
I'm so sorry, Jennifer. That's exactly what I said to choose. And I had that for a while. Then the last minute, I changed it. And I'm glad someone chose it so I can see what would happen.
To quote my wife, yep. Thanks, Chris. Way to go. Spock, as we mentioned, did a Friday, Sunday, Cars 3, 47 meters, 2 bonus performers of the Big Sick, Mummy and Piratas. And for those who are distinctly curious as to what was the perfect Cineplex for week number 6, I think it turned out to be where you did choose not 1 but 2 Spider-Mans in that particular week. It was the Friday-Sunday combination, but it was 5 Big Six and Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, which was done by 324 players for a perfect Cineplex in week 6.
So we're not going to have a show next week, but I do want to look at some of the films that are coming out next week.
Yes.
Not for their budget in our FML, but just look at what's coming out. What we have, I'm really excited about Dunkirk from Christopher Nolan.
Finally, like we've seen trailers for this film, I feel like, for 30 years. No, I'm
that's
kidding.
okay. He can take his time because he makes fantastic films.
Yes, 30
even if you
weeks,
weren't
30
crazy
weeks,
about Interstellar, it looked fantastic. It was well made. The ending's a little trippy, but it's still a good film. And Dunkirk, very different from his other films, very historical piece.
Right.
And I think he has a very personal connection. I know It's about the British or the Allies. I think it's the British
Um,
losing to the Nazis.
in World War
And
II, yes.
yes, and they have to travel this little span of water, and it's very hazardous. And he actually did this himself as a pilgrimage, and then was inspired to do the film from doing that. So
Correct.
looks like a good movie. Any thoughts on that one?
Again, you don't get to see a lot of war films or World War II films that get this wide of a release that doesn't take a look from the American perspective. So I'm
Yeah.
looking for a more refreshing taste on the genre as a whole, and Dunkirk is going to do that. It's part of the official Battle of Dunkirk, just historically to kind of look back on it. That took place on the Western Front, if you will, of the Second World War. Okay, next, not this week's show, unless you want to play along at home. I thought about this, mentioning this at the beginning of the show, but it just occurred to me now because I just said it.
Yeah.
My wife wants to make a drinking game out of every time I say the phrase, if you will.
But that's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there. If you make a drinking game out of that, please let me know. Just don't go driving afterwards, because you'll probably have a pretty fun time. Your drink of choice could be water, sweet tea, possibly beer or wine, but I wouldn't recommend cocktails because
Fireball whiskey.
Sure, why not? For the brave at heart, Fireball whiskey, chased with some Smirnoff. No, that'd be obscene.
Well, like every woman in the galaxy has said, let's move on and say, I'm Dunkirk.
Your Star Trek reference of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. I'm excited for this. When I first heard about the film, I'm like, a sci-fi action movie that I've never heard of before.
Yep.
I went and read a bunch of the graphic novels. These are timeless European graphic novels.
Yes.
Made a long time ago, but they're beautifully illustrated and fun. They don't go too deep, but they're fun, very imaginative. And if you look at this film, it's made by the same guy that made The Fifth Element.
Yes,
Very
1997's
crazy.
Luc Besson.
Yes. So I think this is going to be a brilliant film. It's probably not going to do well because no one knows what it is. And but I really want to see it. Next week, I'm not going to be able to see a movie, but I really want to see Dunkirk and Valerian.
I think, and then just to throw it out there, it is going to go out, but I don't know how you want to truly evaluate this for the purposes of our game. Girls Trip, starring Jada Pinkett Smith, Queen Latifah, Regina Hall, and Lorenz Tate. So it is sort of a. It's not a black comedy, but it is a. Not the dark black comedy.
It's Rough Night for African American women.
That might be a fair sort of polarization.
That's what it looked like, and it looked fun. It looked fun. Who knows? Who knows?
I know. Luc Besson will be at the helm, as we mentioned, of Valerian in the City of 1,000
And Dane
Planets.
DeHaan, who played Harry Osborn in the previous two Andrew Garfield Spider-Man
Correct.
movies.
Cara Delevingne, who last appeared from what we remember as Suicide Squad. And
Really?
then, yes, Cara Delevingne is in it. She was in Suicide Squad. She was the crazy lady that wanted to take over the whole world.
Oh, I didn't see that movie, so.
Oh, never mind. Clive Owen, Rihanna, Ethan Hawke, also on the billing list for Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets.
Ethan Hawke, I like him.
Ethan Hawke
He's not in it a lot.
No, he's a great actor.
He was
tremendous.
His
actor.
best role is in Dead Poet Society. I'm sorry, but
I liked him as a sort of supporting actor in the remake of The Magnificent Seven that was done last year.
I still need to see that. I know my brother loves that one.
And again, it's a classic story of The Magnificent Seven. It's a twice over remake, if you will, because if you go back to the original Akira Kurosawa film, that doesn't top it compared to any other remake or retry or reimagining than that one. The original Magnificent Seven was a classic film. I think Yul Brynner, along with, I can't even remember the full casting list now from the original 1970s, or was it 60s or 70s version? 1960. That's when it originally came out. The original screenplay for the movie, again, written by Akira Kurosawa, reimagined in the 60s to where it is that sort of Western feel. of the band of outlaws attempting to help the evil, greedy business town that lives and is taking over there. Anyway, falling too far down the rabbit hole.
So can we go to our weekly recommends and
Sure, we can
tie this thing up with some webs?
Let's start with your weekly recommend, and then we'll go with mine.
Okay, well, I am reading Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man. It's a new Spider-Man book out. Spidey's main book is The Amazing Spider-Man. It's been written by Dan Slott for a million years, and until he dies, he'll be writing it. Mm-hmm. And right now in that book, he is basically Tony Stark. He owns Parker Industries. He's traveling the world. He has tech everywhere. It's not my kind of Spider-Man because he's not the underdog. But Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, is still in line with that, but he's in the neighborhood. He's running around,
Gotcha.
Stopping thieves and stuff. So if you want to satiate some more spider cravings that you have after the film, and you want to see what's currently happening in Spider-Man's world, you can check out Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man. There's only been one issue so far, so jump in at the ground level.
And take that elevator all the way up.
Also, shameless plug, please check out my Spider-Man review, Spider-Man Homecoming, how Spider-Man Homecoming tries to save the human race.
Yeah. Been trying to think what's new with me lately in terms of things I am checking out. Mine is more on the music end of things.
Cool.
So
let's get it. I got a long 18-hour drive to do, so give me some music to listen to.
I don't know if this is exactly your cup of tea, but there is a live channel that exists from a YouTube channel called Chilled Cow. I don't know what that means.
It's milk.
Sure. Could also be a milkshake or ice cream or a whole host of other things, including cheese. But he has this continuously streaming channel, or they do. I'm not sure if it's a he or she or it's an it, known as Lo-Fi Hip Hop Radio Beats to Relax / Study to. So it may not be the best driving music, but it is just good. And it's not even like
it's cruising music.
It's cruising music. It's not stuff with you're going to have a lot of lyrical hip hop that's in there. And the stuff that you do isn't what you're going to hear on the radio from the trap lords. I don't know if that's what the kids call them these days. But it's more just part jazz, part hip-hop beats, just laid-back, nice, summertime, relaxing, with a beverage in hand type music. Cool. So go check that out. An artist that I did find from that channel that I did download his album, which was your choice to, or you set the price to pay and download, was by a artist by the name of Nymano, Nymano. Nymano, Nymano. He has, I believe, I don't know how large of a following, if you call it. He only has about 2,500 likes on his Facebook. He's on Twitter at Nymano Beats. But just very relaxed, laid-back tunes. He intersplices a lot of music and movies and TV clips into his beats, and you've heard a lot of anime kind of characters kind of come in with their monologues. Some Cowboy Bebop, some
Oh. Wow. That's a great transition to answer the question.
Oh, yes.
Because our music comes from Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, look at that. Cowboy Bebop was the trivia answer that, of course, so many of you wrote in on, and I'm kidding. Have we?
Yeah, I'm still going through all the snail mail.
Okay, good. So that pretty much wraps up Week 7 and Week 6 in a nutshell. We thank you, of course, for joining us. As Chris mentioned, no show next week. Go spend time with family, friends, dogs, cats, guinea pigs, fishes, all the things and peoples you love in the world. Other than that, for Chris, I am Alex. We thank you so much for joining us again here on the Fantasy Movie League Chatter, and we will see you at the movies.